I know I can create transformational experiences for these people. I know I can do this really, really, really well, but I'm not doing it yet.
Some research on some yoga teachers, and they mentioned that some of them get paid like $25 per class.
That's like one of the biggest things that people come to me and they say is burnout, burnout, burnout. So what I think makes a big difference about the yoga practice versus a Pilates class and provides this like deep transformation is understanding the nervous system and taking the nervous system on this journey and letting people get out of their head and like truly in their body and in their nervous system. And they leave and they're like, that was some truth. Like, I feel so much better.
Welcome to Puro Biz. We're here with Tara. She's a coach for yoga teachers. And it's a very interesting story about her business. So we're here with her, for explain us like how does this business work and how can she help yoga teachers, have a better career. Welcome to Puro Biz, Tara. How's it going?
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here. And tell us, what's your business like? What are you promoting?
Currently, I'm focused on helping yoga teachers, kind of like you mentioned, helping yoga teachers with their careers, because that's kind of the big thing that I'm noticing that my students need the most.
Okay.
So I have a program called the Gift-Led Career Path, and it's all about helping yoga teachers go from not quite sure what the next steps are to living into impactful and also sustainable and well-paid yoga teaching careers without running around and getting burnt out or feeling like a puzzle piece that doesn't fit in.
Yeah, because I've seen some yoga teachers on the internet, but it's hard to, point out their career path, because there's some that you just see that they go to a studio, and there's some others that have a bunch of followers, work with celebrities, and even have retreats and stuff like that. And it's hard to know how their career growth, to that level. And also most of them are pretty young as well, So how do you help in that aspect?
Yeah, I think that is such a big missing thing in our culture in America at large, but also in the yoga industry, is seeing teachers like me who have teaching as their main job, and they just quietly help their students and make a living for their family, because what we see on the internet is either people griping about yoga's not a real career, yoga's not a real job, the only way to do it is if you have somebody else paying your bills, or you see the yoga celebrities. But we're not seeing what you see in most industries, where there's this middle
ground
where people are just doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and coming to that, I've seen, I've done some research on some yoga teachers and on Reddit and stuff like that. And they mentioned that some of them get paid like $25 per class, which is, really low. Like how are you supposed to live out of, $25 per class? How many classes can you have on a day,
That's one of the biggest things that people come to me and they say is burnout, burnout, burnout. It's like I'm racing around town and I'm teaching too many classes, bouncing from place to place. And this is not what I got into yoga for.
Yeah.
This is not what I thought it would be like. And the reality is that pay is just way too low right now in a lot of places, because I always tell people before you agree to $25 a class or even $40 a class, let's calculate this out, because you need to teach the 60-minute class, and sometimes you're getting $30 to teach a 75-minute or a 90-minute class.
Yeah.
So you have to teach the class. Ideally, you're going to prep for the class, so it's a really good class, and that can take 15 minutes for a seasoned teacher, or it can take 3 hours or 5 days for somebody who's just figuring it out.
Yeah.
And trying to prepare so that it's really good. You have to drive there and drive back, and it's pretty hard to get a couple of classes in a row. That's possible, but it's
Mm-hmm.
very unlikely you're going to get 5 hours of work in a row.
Yeah.
So you're driving for one class and driving back, and then you can't be talking on the phone or reading a book right before class all the way up to when class starts. You need to be helping your students and checking in with your students.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you think about it, like any class you go to, it makes a big difference if somebody says, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
And then yoga teachers, we are often asked to do something that might even be the main part of the job at the end,
Mm-hmm.
which is somebody says, "Thank you so much. This helped me overcome grief." And they want to check in with you about it.
Yeah.
So you can't just bolt right after class. You need to be present because that's like maybe when things are integrating, or they'll say your playlist was super fun, or my hip hurts. Can you help me with that? So this is like arguably 3 to 6 hours of work for $25 or $40.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, plus all the, you first have to be good at yoga and then your training. How much is a training? It's pretty costly
Yeah.
probably. So that's, cost that it goes into it as well. As any career, some people complain about, let's say, a doctor making X amount of money, but how long did it take them for them to get there, and it's the same with any type of industry. So I think, $25 seems like super low, like it's impossible to live off of that. But how did you got passionate about this? Like why did you created this business, and how did you get here?
I have always loved moving my body,
Okay.
and I have a dance background,
Mm-hmm.
and I found yoga because I was dancing in Chicago and I got hired for an aerial dance company, and they hired all these ballet-based dancers to do all the like arm strength stuff.
Okay.
And since it was a show, not training, there was a lot of asymmetrical stuff. So yes, our feet were pointed really well, but we were struggling. So my body started to hurt. And I just found a studio in Chicago and walked in and was like, help me. And I figured out that there was a really beautiful kind of pathway between dance and yoga, except for yoga started to open me up to healing my body and also the spiritual part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just an exciting, I mean, yeah, I walked in and couple months later, I did my teacher training, and I've always been geared towards like leading and teaching.
Okay.
Um,
And did you feel at that time, did you feel that you were really good in order to take the next step to do the teacher
no,
training? Oh, really?
I
Okay.
wasn't. Well, so it was like 2012. I was really focused on dance.
Okay.
But there is kind of this is like one of the problems that I work through with a lot of my clients is there's a lot of teacher trainings that aren't necessarily like getting a license as a nurse or really vocational. It's half of the people are there to deepen their practice, and so there's a whole sector of people in teacher trainings that are itching to teach. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a convoluted thing, and it's been really hard for me as a teacher trainer to help the people in the teacher training who really want the skills to teach, and then there are people over here who just want to hang out
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and do more yoga stuff.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of bridge that gap. But that is how I got into it is I just was like, I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I wanted to teach. I've always wanted to teach. I'm
Okay.
always trying to
Okay.
teach. But I definitely was not great right
Uh-huh.
after that teacher training. It took me 5 years of trial and error. And
Okay. And how did you get your first, like, let's say, gig as a yoga teacher?
I got my first gig at a gym, and
Okay.
I remember the person who hired me. There's a lot of yoga teachers who will get their first gig this way.
Mm-hmm.
I got it at a gym, and the person who hired me knew nothing about yoga. She was just like, "You seem cool.
Uh-huh.
Come and hang out on Tuesday nights."
Yeah.
And I remember the floor was really squishy, which is really not great for balance, but somebody had thought that that would be good for yoga. So this is how not yoga of a place this
Mm-hmm.
was.
Okay.
And it was really exciting. And my students were super kind and generous. And I remember in that first gig, it was like 2012. I was like, I know I can create transformational experiences for these people. I know I can do this really, really, really well, but I'm not doing it yet. Like I can feel it. Like it's not landing. It's not. They would leave and kind of say thank you in this way that I was like,
Mhm.
that wasn't
And
it.
what made you feel that, you were transforming your students, and like what made, that connection of you? Because I imagine there's some, and yoga is very spiritual, but I imagine there's some like, I don't know, like a fitness class. You just, give the class and that's it.
Oh, yeah. That's
Uh-huh.
such a good question. It is so distinct,
Okay.
like yoga versus Pilates versus going on a run or even a dance class.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why yoga has such a strong footing in culture, but we're getting lost in the sauce a little bit because there's so many yoga classes that don't add that extra element of transformation or spirituality. And what I find when I'm teaching other teachers and what I've gone through for years, what makes a huge I mean, one thing I'm very interested in all the spirituality and there's a lot to be said there, but for a lot of people who first come into yoga, they're not
Yeah.
ready to hear some heady spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think makes a big difference about the yoga practice versus a Pilates class and provides this like deep transformation is understanding the nervous system and taking the nervous system on this journey and letting people get out of their head and like truly in their body and in their nervous system. And they leave and they're like, that was interesting. Like I feel so much better.
Yeah.
I cried in that.
Uh-huh.
I I feel calmer.
Yeah.
I'm not as mad at my boss. Like,
Like
so
let go a
yeah, they
little
let
bit.
go.
Yeah, that's what I felt on some yoga classes. And from the ones that I took, I definitely, the teacher has definitely had an impact on some. Some have been just classes, and some have been like, oh, I really connected with that teacher, like it felt me, I felt like coming back to it, and like, I don't know, like it helped me like be better at the class, and like, like it brought like a calmer vibe to me, and that felt really good.
Oh, yeah, and that's, like, a big thing that I help teachers with is going from, "Meh, that was
Mm-hmm.
fine. I could have gone on a run.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Who was that teacher? I forget." Versus the ones that you're talking about where you're like, "I need to come back to that. That was
Okay.
great." And there are just skills and it takes understanding some of the spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
but it also really takes understanding the nervous system
Mm-hmm.
and understanding how to lead people on a journey that goes all the way up and then comes back down and how to like get the most out of shavasana
Mm-hmm.
even for populations like I used to teach in Midtown Manhattan and nobody wanted to do shavasana but it was like
Uh-huh.
impossible. They just wanted to check their email.
Yeah.
But it's like finding skills that helps those people be in shavasana at least for 3 minutes. And that's how you
Mm-hmm.
start to transform people's lives, and that's why yoga
Yeah,
is
I
good.
guess also like bringing, same as, as the student, same to the teacher, like bringing more intention into it as well, right?
It's intention, but it's also like literally skill sets around like use this word first, use this word second.
Oh, wow.
Like if you say um like if you say things that I'm trying to think of an example, but you can say something that'll really trigger people. Like saying uh I can't even think of an
No, but
example. But it's like when you use certain language
yeah,
well, here's like a terrible example. This is too extreme, but one time I got into shavasana
yeah.
and the person um said, "Just do a light smile like you're smiling like the Joker." This, like, worst case scenario, I'm about to relax, now I'm thinking about the Joker, which is, like, not the
Uh-huh.
character you wanna
Yeah,
but there's more subtle things throughout the class that you can say, like, if you confuse people when you're guiding them into a shape,
yeah.
you lose them, and then they're back in their head, and now they're like, "Wait, what did she mean? What did she say? I should write that email. What am I gonna do at the grocery store tonight?" Da, 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 and they're in
Mhm.
their head, but if you literally perfect your cueing so that they're just like in the shapes. They stay in their nervous system and their body for longer. So these things really, really matter.
I see. Yeah, I remember this time I was at a yoga class and I was doing this, I think we were stretching or something, and I had an ACL surgery. So I was kind of struggling and I'm like there, pushing. And the teacher just came and like touched my back just to let me know I was there and put a yoga block where I was struggling and fix my posture. But it was like so instant, and I was like, dang, she's caring about what I'm doing, and that's one of those feelings that you're like, oh dang, I'm being taken care of.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Uh-huh.
what kind of makes a difference is like when teachers can hold this container of like, I got you, you're supported, you don't have to worry about anything.
Okay.
But if your cueing isn't good, you gotta worry because you're like, "What is he asking me to do? What is she asking me to do?" And you're in your head, and then you have to take over. But if your skills are good enough, and like that teacher sounds like they were good enough to know, "Oh, this is the prop that's needed here." Very confident that that would help you.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps to have developed those skills. And for me, it took me 5 years of trial and error and figuring it out and talking to people about their knee surgeries and trying to.
Yeah.
But I'm find with all my mentees that it doesn't take that long to learn those
Mm-hmm.
skills. Just a lot of teachers don't have them. Like it takes about 3 months to learn those kind of skills. Um, but a lot of teachers just don't it's not an industry where it just like they help you get the skills that you need to be an excellent teacher.
I see. And one more, like one random question. Do you think like yoga can be just, let's say somebody decides one day to get fitter, like okay, now it was not exercising, and one day it's like, okay, I'm gonna do exercising. Do you think yoga can replace a full-on exercise, or do you think it's more of a complement of an exercise?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know. I would say like it depends on what you're trying to do.
Okay.
Like if you're trying to get really like lean muscles, and it also depends on what kind of yoga you're doing and how often you're doing it.
Okay.
So if you're only doing restorative, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like depends on what you're trying to do with your body. So if you're
Okay.
trying to like get a lot of muscles, I would say probably go lift heavy weights.
Uh-huh.
If you're dealing with back pain and your goal is not to lose weight or gain muscle, but rather to get rid of your back pain to help your body, yoga could help.
Okay.
If your goal is to become more flexible, um, yoga could help. But I find that most people in the United
Mm-hmm.
States use it as a compliment, which is
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Okay.
it's
Okay.
great as a
And
compliment.
then, I like yoga. I haven't been proper, like, full on to it, but I've always wondered how, sometimes I go to a class and it's just normal class, but then I go to other classes and there's like this person like levitating, and I'm like, how do you get there? Like what's the, route to get to that's because at some point I would like to be that person, like, doing all this crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah. I think it just depends on where you take class and who you take class from. Like, the place I did my teacher training
Mhm.
in Chicago had a lot of great teachers that were really good at teaching arm balances and more traditional postures, and it was awesome.
Okay.
And you would just go to that class, and you could
Okay.
learn.
Okay.
But I think there's a lot of classes that never teach those things. And so
Okay.
you could go to that class
Uh-huh.
for 5 years, and if they're never gonna
Uh-huh.
teach a forearm stand, you're not gonna learn it. But
Okay.
then also I would say, like, if you were just like, "I wanna learn this, this, and this," you go to a private instructor, because then
Mm.
you can work it out with them a
Mhm.
lot quicker. That's what I would
Okay.
say. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then, okay, and let's talk a little bit about your business. So let's say, somebody just got their certification. Like, how do you help them, you know, um, have a life out of yoga?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have found over mentoring teachers for years and years and years that there's a 3-step process that works the best. And there's a lot to be said about the yoga industry and like what it's like to teach in a gym or a studio. And there's a lot of change that is, I think, currently happening, but needs to keep happening for us to make a living in a gym or a studio.
Mm-hmm.
So when teachers come to me and they say, I really, really want this to be solid income for me, meaning I want to spend a lot of time doing it.
Yeah.
Because I see so many teachers who want to do it and then they accept that $25 an hour job or $25 a class job. It's not per hour. It's
Yeah.
like $3 per hour.
Uh-huh.
They do it, but they have this other job that pays the bills or something, and they do it, and I've never seen that be sustainable
Mm-hmm.
because there's an energetic exchange that eventually just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like volunteering feels amazing. When
Mm-hmm.
you raise your hand and you say, I want to do this I want to just do this. It feels so, so good.
Yeah.
And I think it feels really good to feel like this is the value I'm providing and I'm getting money in exchange that is about the same amount as like the training I went through, the years I went through to learn how to do this, the impact I'm having on my people. That feels good. But this middle ground
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel very good where
Yeah.
it's like you do.
It's like having a job but not being well paid for, and so you're never gonna feel good at that job.
Yeah, it doesn't, it
Uh-huh.
feels not good. It would feel better if it was like, I'm gonna volunteer and teach children in the inner city,
Yeah.
whatever. You could probably do that and sustain it. So I see all these people who they can't sustain it even if they don't need the money.
Yeah.
Energetically, it doesn't work out. Sometimes tax-wise, like their
Mhm.
partners are getting mad at them because they're owing at the end of the year for having this really crazy job. So when people are like, no, I actually want to make this work. The 3-step process that I found works the best is first you have to figure out what your specialty is. And you could say niche, but I don't think that's actually appropriate. We call it like your unique gifts or the unique thing that you have to offer. I think niche isn't right because you don't randomly pick a population. You hone in on what you do that changes lives.
And is that something that you see out of that person, or that person should know? Because I imagine there's some
Yeah.
teachers that come to you and they don't know, like, okay, I'm just a yoga teacher, but I don't know like what's my strength.
Yeah, that's usually why they hire me.
Okay.
Is because it's always like a split.
Okay.
They have a really good idea like, I love working with children, or I love power vinyasa, or I know I love working with soccer players. So they have something, but then they always have something that's like covered up that they can't see. And I think that's like one of the best things I've ever got from a mentor, or why I like being a mentor, is like they highlight your strengths. Like I had this amazing mentor who I didn't realize it was good, but she was like, your playlists are helping their nervous system. And I didn't realize that, but she's like, this is a superpower for you. Like some people say playlists are random, but for you, it's your superpower in how you lead people into spirituality. Don't forget that, like lean in, keep working on those. And that's so good. So it's like good to have, kind of like, even it's not always like I sit there with the answers, but if I ask enough questions, they're like, oh, I want to work with soccer players with knee injuries. And they figure that out. Or, oh, there's more to it than just like soccer players. Or there's more to it than 55 plus.
Okay. And then so that's step number 1, right? Like finding your connection to what you are good at, let's say. And then, okay, so step number 2, what would it be?
Then step number 2 is just like building out all the skills that you need to actually execute. Because just because you want to help soccer players with knee pain with yoga doesn't mean that you actually know how to cue properly for that population. And then, of course, so we'll work on teaching skills like cueing, sequencing, adding themes into your class. Sometimes we'll spend a lot of time working on like, okay, you've decided on 55 plus community. We need to hone in on the skill of teaching chair yoga. And then we also work on business skills. So how do you get your message out there? it'll be as broad as like messaging and mission statement, and as narrow as like content calendars for Instagram and email marketing strategy. And then another bucket is just like program creation. So like
Okay.
offering your
Okay, and you go, let's say if somebody's not having the results that they want, you like go in deep in like try to restructure it as well.
yeah, you're like, well, that'll be like a lot of step 2 is a lot of like, I'll go to class, see what needs help. It's always fun working with adults because it's a conversation.
Yeah.
So it's like, what were you trying to do for your population? Okay, why didn't it work? Let's figure out. Okay, you can't play pop music in this class, or you can't cue that quickly, or like we'll figure it out so that they can make sure that they're not teaching a random okay class to this
Okay.
population they care about. In step 2, we're making sure they're teaching like an amazing class
Okay.
that people want to come back to and they need and that helps them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then somebody that maybe hasn't, has the intention of getting their yoga, is it a license or
It's a certification.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't have their certification yet, but has the intention and maybe has found like some like maybe I would like to help yoga soccer players. Can that person also come to you for help?
Yeah, I've run so many of the 200-hour teacher trainings and helped a lot of teachers with that part of the process.
Okay.
And recently people have been asking me for a one-on-one 200-hour teacher training, especially dancers, because there's like a kind of a unique way that dancers become yoga teachers, and they're like, we know you did it. Can you please help? So I actually haven't run that yet because it's not my
Okay.
focus, but I've done it a bunch of times. And
Okay.
there's 3 people right now who keep asking me, so we'll see.
No, I think it's interesting because there's the majority of I think the yoga teacher personality will be somebody that goes with the flow and maybe just gets their certification. But I imagine there's also the other type of persona that wants to see the whole plan before getting into it. So it'll be very valuable if they can see there's a map where they actually can grow to it. Maybe it's not night and day, but they can get into it. Like you can have the plan because it's really that information. It's really hard to find online, I'm sure, and like it's not one straightforward plan that you need to follow.
Oh yeah, that's like my main focus now is helping people see like I've had yoga as my main job since 2012.
Wow.
It's been amazing. I'm so grateful for it. Like I'm so grateful to have a job that I'm passionate about and that also helps other people, and I can just see how it helps other people. And if you feel drawn to it, you can do it. Like that's my main thing. Like
Okay.
you can have it too. Like you don't have to be stuck at a desk or having a job you don't really like, because people who are drawn to yoga, people who come to me tend to say stuff like, I know this is what I'm going to do. I just don't know how to do it yet.
Okay.
Like they're deeply passionate people. So yes, you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. And then what do you think about the yoga scene here in Denver? Like you briefly mentioned before that we were recording that you're not liking too much what you've seen in Denver, and I just wanted to ask you like why is that? Like what have you seen that could be better in this business as well?
I think Denver is like the land here. We're like in the mountains, near the mountains, which has this like connection to spirituality.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are connected to that culture and what yoga has to offer. So there's a lot of people here who really want to tap into yoga. And I think like there's some amazing places here in yoga in Denver that are helping yoga teachers get paid better, or helping move the industry in the direction it can go and make it better for students and teachers. So there's a need for it, but also I guess my experience is it's so infiltrated with like a culture from core power, which is a really specific way of doing yoga. And I think like their sequencing it doesn't accommodate the nervous system in a way that I've seen people just like fall in love with yoga in New York City and Austin, which is the other places I've spent a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it's just not the teachers who end up in that category, like kind of like following that path, just don't get as deep into teaching as I think teachers do from a different lineage.
Okay.
So for me, like my opinion is like that is kind of watering things down
Yeah.
a little bit in Denver. And there's so many places that are not, or they're trying to break away from that and find the richness of yoga and the history of yoga and like all the spirituality in yoga and
Yeah.
really teach in a way that blows people's minds and makes their lives so much better. So, and not to say that there's not somebody from Core Power that can do that, but it's just a culture that's here that is not my favorite compared to like New York City or Austin.
No, and I get that. It might be also the pandemic that we just had, you know, people might be more closed down, and I felt that, you know, so some of the people, at least in my building, let's say, you know, they might not say hi when they get into the elevator, and it's you know, some people get angry at that, but it's contrary to what you think sometimes, that this person might be rude, but the reality is that if you might say hi to them, they open up. You know, some people have some social anxiety, and I've seen that.
Oh yeah, and there's like people got into doing stuff online. So there's more and more of that. But that's like one of the beautiful things about being connected to a really great yoga studio is it can be like the one thing in your life that gets you out of not saying saying hi to people in the hallway.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the I think like yoga studios don't pay, like there's so many problems with yoga studios, but they're one of the big benefits is they're beautiful communities and they can be like the reason why you deeply connect with other people
Okay.
because you keep going back to this one yoga
Yeah.
studio.
And plus, we, as you said, we are here in Colorado, Denver. We have the mountains. Like, there's so much to, you know, exploit this. I've seen some people, even, you know, from other parts of the country, doing retreats here and things like that. And you know, I lived in Florida for 2 years, and every time that I mentioned that you know, I was living in Denver, everyone was like, "Oh, Denver, that must be so cool, the mountains." So there's definitely, like, you know, an attraction for people to come here. I feel that could be some potential to be exploited here.
Oh yeah, and it like is the reason like I think that there have been some businesses in Colorado that have held back the yoga industry here. And at the same time, like I hear it all the time, like, oh, Denver or like Colorado, that's like a yoga hub. And in my experience, it's not a yoga. Like have not found the caliber of teachers that I found in other places in the country. So there's a gap here. There's like something missing and a whole bunch of people who love yoga. So there's a whole bunch of teachers ready, like chomping at the bit, like finding me and saying, what's next? How do I make this work in Denver? Help me because I know I'm going to teach and I know I'm going to live in Colorado. So help me. So I think like there's a real opportunity
Yeah.
where there isn't maybe in New York City, because I mean, there's plenty of opportunity in New York City. It's the place of opportunity, but there are people in New York City that are at the top of their game. And in my experience, that spot's open in Denver. You know?
And what has been your top place for you? Like, do you have one?
Top place to take to practice. I love practicing all over the place, but I used to teach at a place in New York City that, well, I loved going to Laughing Lotus in New York City. That was like my top
That
place.
was your,
Yeah.
and what made it be your top place? Like, what were the aspects of?
The teachers were fun.
Okay.
The music was fun. But the caliber of understanding the body, understanding anatomy, understanding the nervous system, and then also understanding spirituality on a deep level was so good. So every time I walked in there, I knew I was going to learn. I'd been practicing yoga and I'd been teaching yoga for almost a decade at that point, but I knew I was going to learn something. It was going to change me. It was going to be either I was going to laugh or I was going to cry. It was going to be this rich experience. Whereas there's plenty of classes that I can walk into where I'm like, I stretched. And that's not what I help my students do. Like, we do not want, I mean, maybe that's what somebody needs that day and great, but you want to be offering something that has the positive possibility of helping somebody laugh, cry, help their back pain, whatever.
Do you have like a connection with the city? Like you have certain plans that you like to do around Denver or Colorado that you can recommend for somebody, looking for a deeper connection? Like, like maybe on Friday, if you don't have anything to do, go do this and like.
Well, we have a 1.5-year-old now, so we don't do anything, but except for unless it's like children oriented. So I can say, if anybody's listening and they have children, the Denver Children's Museum is actually really amazing. It's like they've redone a bunch of it, and it's not just a place with like some plastic stuff. It's like an immersive, it's like Meow Wolf for babies. It's like really, really, really cool. So that is somewhere we go all the time. I guess that's like another big reason why we live here is Meow Wolf. It's super cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you been to Meow Wolf?
I have.
Like, that's crazy. Like, we don't have that in New York City.
Yeah, no, it's an immersive experience, as they said.
That is wild.
And what about like nature? Do you have a place that you like to, maybe go meditate or do your yoga exercises?
My go-to place is Chautauqua in Boulder.
In Boulder, yeah.
Which is lovely and so easy to get to from Denver. And then I had like going up into the mountains a little bit. It's lovely to sit by the river and hang out with your friends and let the dogs run around.
I've realized that, I haven't been exploring Colorado like 8 years living into the Colorado. Like, I bought a Jeep at one point. I'm like, this is my explorer time. And I started like going in trails and like, just getting myself lost driving. And I realized this is an amazing state. Like there's so many things to see, and like the scenery, once you just 1 hour from here, you see so many things that you there's people waiting for, let's say, the Yellowstone trip and, going and you see the same stuff just 1 hour from here.
Oh, yeah. That is something that I love about, like, when I lived in Austin and New York, same thing. I think some New Yorkers will go up north and whatever, but I just stayed in those cities. Like, you just stay, like, especially Austin. If you are drawn to live in Austin, you just stay there. But then Denver is so different. Like, we're all like, friends are saying, come to Golden or go to Boulder, or like, and it's like very easy to drive 40 minutes and end up somewhere really cool that's different, or go up into the mountains, or we'll just like drive up to the mountains to go like walk around a lake and then come back and go to Sushi Den and have like this amazing sushi dinner. So like I've had so many experiences where I'm just like in the city, but it's awesome here to have really good sushi, but then also go on a beautiful nature hike. And then one of our favorite things to do is we like to like drive down to New Mexico, which is only a 5-hour drive, but it's really easy to do from, we don't want to live there. It's too dry. But it's like the landscape changes. It's an easy drive. You get there and you're like in this whole different culture, and then you come back home. It's great.
I need to take that trip.
It's a really, really good trip.
And
then you go through Colorado Spring, like, but it is so like there's so much to see here. Like, it's such a driving culture to like drive up to Netherlands. Like, that's a whole different culture up there. There's a whole different vibe. It's awesome.
Well, I think this has been great. Do you have anything that you think we're missing? Anything to add?
Let's see. I think the one thing that we didn't fully get into is like the yoga industry. I think the yoga industry right now is like really disheartening to people and feels like this can never be a real job, or I can't get like I can't ever get paid. The yoga industry is not working for me. But
Yeah.
I'm seeing all these really powerful changes. So if anybody's like listening and they're a yoga teacher or feeling stuck in Denver, which I think happens, like I think it's changing and I'm really excited. And
Yeah.
I think more and more people will be in that like middle ground of having a really nice yoga career and not being a celebrity and not being a hobbyist.
Yeah,
But
not
so
all, and I think for that also, you don't have to have your own studio. Maybe like with social media, you can grow and create your own experiences. There's so many things. There's also like Airbnb experiences. I don't know if you dig in a little bit into it, but Airbnb is offering like connecting you with actually like teachers that could come to the house and like provide this experience. So that might be something that they could also, look into it.
oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's like we talk about that in all of my mentorships, and, like, my main thing is, like, "There's possibility,
Hmm.
people. It's okay. We
Yeah.
got this. Like, we're gonna build each other up as a team. Like, we got it. You could be a yoga teacher if you
Yeah, yeah,
want
yeah.
to."
No, definitely. If it's something that you're looking into, definitely reach out to Tara. She'll guide you through your journey. And well, thank you for watching this interview. Thank you, Tara, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.